Are you among those business people who experience great success at the outset of your business, but right now things are slowing down? It becomes more and more difficult for you to have clients. And when you made your assessment, you came to the conclusion that it has to do with the fact that you didn't invest in building an attractive brand by leveraging social media. In this video, I want to share with you the 7 must-have if you want to build a successful and attractive brand. If you want to know more about that, stay connected and let's go. Hi everyone, Zoe from Cameroon here. Always a pleasure to be with you. And for those who do not know me, I'm a PhD lecturer and researcher in management science. I'm a teacher, I'm a coach, and I'm a consultant. I love to help businesses turn their product into an instrument of impact and of fortune by building attractive brands through content-based differentiation. Today, I want to talk to those who have experienced great success at the outset of their business, but right now things are very, very difficult. It's difficult for you to have clients, and you came to the conclusion that it has to do with the fact that you didn't invest in branding. Branding is very important nowadays in business, and I want to tell you this. When the market becomes noisier, it is difficult to stand out just with a simple marketing strategy. When the market becomes noisier, it's difficult for you to stand out just by being pushy, by putting in place prospecting strategy. When the market becomes noisier, it is only those who have built attractive brands that will stand out, because when we talk about branding, we talk about simply the reputation of your name, what people think and feel about your name, about your product, about what you stand for. And when you succeed in building a great reputation in the mind of the marketplace concerning your name, your product, or your vision, it becomes easier for you to stand out and to thrive. And many people do not understand that branding is not just a buzzword. No, branding is the solution when the market becomes noisier, because it is the only way for you to be intentional in building a good reputation that will help you positioning yourself in such a way that when your potential client will think about a solution that you provide, he will think about you first. That is very important. Today is important for every business person, for every business to invest in branding. But you have to understand that branding is not something that we proclaim, that I am building my brand. There are things you have to understand. There are pillars you have to put in place. There are principles you have to observe. There are laws you have to apply and submit to if you want to build an attractive, a successful, and even a persuasive brand. The solution for you who are experiencing those difficult times, unlike the greatest period you have experienced at the outset of your business, the solution for you is to start becoming intentional in building your brand. And today, I want to give you 7 must-have that you don't have to miss if you want to become a successful brand and stand out in the marketplace. The first must-have is you have to find your voice. And the list I'm about to share with you is I put it randomly. It's not in order. So there is no order. Everything is important. And I want you to pay close attention to what I'm about to share with you. The first must-have is to find your voice. When I'm talking about your voice, I'm talking about the way you deliver your message, the way you share your content, the approach you use. You know, the voice is different from the message. The voice is the system, the delivery system we use to release the message, is the way we deliver the message. You can have a voice but with a bad message, or you can have a good message with a bad voice. So that is very important for you to understand that you have to find your voice. Maybe you are a reporter, maybe you are a teacher, maybe your way of delivering is that you are a motivator, or maybe you are an entertainer, or maybe you are a combination of maybe a thought leader with an entertainer, or a motivator with a reporter, or an investigator with a teacher. You have to understand what is your way of delivering the message. What is the best form of delivering your content in order for you to make great impact. That is why you have to find your voice. You don't have the same voice as every people. You have to understand, what is my voice? What is the best way for me to deliver my message, my content, to make an impact? I'm good in what? In teaching, in entertaining, in motivating, in inspiring, in reporting, in being a thought leader. What is my voice? You have to find your voice. That is the first must-have. The second must-have is this: find your message. As I told you, there is a difference between the message and the voice. The voice is the tone. The voice is the instrument you use to release the message. Right now, my voice is not my message. I'm using my voice to share a message. I can have a good voice with a great tone that people like. I can have the good delivery system that fits with how people want to interact with me, but I have the wrong message. So it's not just about finding your voice, it is also about finding your message. What is your message? And every time I'm talking about your message, I'm not talking about many messages. I'm talking about one message. For each product, there can be many messages. But if you want to build your brand, you have to understand something. You have to be known for one thing. No one ever succeeded in building in a successful brand by relating his brand or a brand with many messages. You can have many products, but all those products have to be related to one message. It's not about the number of your products or your services, but it is about the message, your marketing message, your big idea. Oh, that is why it's important for you to find your message. Because let me tell you this. Because when I'm talking about the message, I'm talking about also your content team, your general content team. And it's very important for you to understand that people do not buy products for products. People buy what they have been told about the product. In fact, people buy the message first, because the message, the content is more important than the product. Do you understand what I'm saying? The content, the message, the general content team is more important than the product, because no one buys a product for the product. We buy because of the message, the content we consumed about that product that helped us understand that that product is good for our health, is good for building wealth, is good for our business, is good for improving our relationships. It is about the content, and all your different product has to be related to the one message or your general content theme. And that is very important. It's not just about the voice. You can be a good teacher, but you are teaching about many things that are not building your brand around one message. You have to be known for one content theme, for one message, for one thing. That is why you have to find your message. The third must have is that you have to find your style. And when I'm talking about your style, I'm talking about the visuals, your logo, your colors, your font, your outfit style. You have to look about your appearance. It talks about your appearance. The first thing people will see, the first thing people will look at when they look at your brand, your logo, your theme, your color, the different visuals, your appearance is very important. It's not the brand, but it's very important because that is the first contact someone may have with your brand. Maybe it's your logo, maybe it's your color, and you have to choose them wisely. People have to recognize your brand just by looking at the colors. People have to recognize your brand just by looking at your logo, but just by looking at your outfit, just by looking at your visuals. You have to have an identity, a visual identity, a style identity. So, first of all is find your voice. Second, find your message. And third, find your style. The fourth must have is to find your pole. If you find something you stand for, is to find an ideal for which you stand for. That is very important. You cannot build a brand by being like everyone else. You have to be different, not just different in your visuals, not just different in your product, but different in what you stand for. You have to find your why. That is what you stand for. That is your pole. What is your why? Your why that has to be compelling enough to draw people to you. Do you know that people will be connected? People will connect to you and to your brand much more because of your why than your product. You have to find your why. You have to find what you stand for. What is your pole? It is very important. Do you know your why? Do you even have a why? When we talk about your why, we talk about your purpose, why you exist as a brand. Why did you launch this business? Why did you start this journey? Why? That is your purpose. It's very powerful in your communication when we talk about your why, when you talk about the reason why you are doing what you are doing. And that is very important. It is the fourth must have. Find your pole. Find what you stand for and find your why. That is very important. The fifth must have is find your niche. And that is, I know it may be cliche today, but I want to tell you that when we talk about branding, another word that can be associated with branding is focus or differentiation. Brands which are successful are focused on one niche. You cannot be the solution for everyone. You cannot become a solution provider for all the different niches there are in the market. You can only be a solution for a group of people that you were built for, the people who share the same why, the people who share the same purpose, the people who share the same values as you. And you have to discover what is your niche. You cannot build a brand when the market is noisy by focusing on everyone. Look in history, study companies that are successful even today. You will understand that they focus on one niche. What is your niche? What is that group of people for which you are working, for which you are creating product? What is that group of people you were called to serve? That is your niche. It is the group of people I am called to serve, who has the problem for which my solution will be welcomed, and who have the money to pay for that solution. Three things: I am called to serve them. The solution I provide is welcomed by them because it meets a problem, a real situation they have, and a real situation that bothers them, and they want to get rid of that problem. It's very important. And third, they have the money to pay for it. That is your niche. You have to find your niche. That is the fifth must have. The first was your voice. The second, your message. The third, your style. The fourth, your pole. And the fifth, your niche. The sixth must have is you have to find your platform, your media of communication. Which platforms will you use to communicate? Because when we talk about branding, we talk about communicating with a group of people, communicating a vision, communicating your values, communicating your purpose, communicating your solution you have for them. It's about also building a community. And for that, you need a platform. You need a platform that you will use to communicate with them, to engage with your audience, to share content with them, to reply to their concern. And that is very important. What will be the platforms you will be using? Traditional platforms, digital platforms. You have to find which are the platforms I will be using to communicate, to have fellowship with my audience. And the last must have is you have to find your story. Let me tell you this. Your story is not your message, but your story gives value to your message. Your story, it is that experience that led you to become who you are today, to start the business you started, and to become a solution provider for that group of people you were called to. You have to find that story. What is your origin story? What is your epiphany story? What is that experience that led you to make a decision to start this business? You have to find that story. It's very powerful to understand that you have to find that story. You have to leverage that story, and you have to use that story to give power to your message. When you have a story like that, it gives power and relevance to your message. Your message becomes more relevant because of your story. And your story also, it is that thing that helps you to give credibility and power to your purpose. Every purpose is founded on an experience. Every purpose is backed by a compelling, an attractive, an emotional, an epiphany story. And if you find that story, it will help you justify your purpose, and it will give value and relevance to your message. And people will be able to connect with you at an emotional level, because do not forget that people buy based on emotions and they justify with logic. It's about connecting with your audience at a spiritual level, at an emotional level, because that is where the connection is made. And for you to do that, you have to find your story, the story of your brand that will bring relevance and power to your message, and that will justify and give credibility to your why, to your pole, to what you stand for. These are the 7 must-have. You need to take into consideration the fact that right now it became difficult, or right now it is difficult for you to have clients. It is an indication that the market became noisier. The market became more and more competitive. And for you to stand out, it is important. It is important for you to build your brand. Build your brand. It is very important. So these were the 7 must-have I wanted to share with you. Find your voice, find your message, find your style, find your pole, find your niche, find your platform, and find your story. I hope you've got a lot from this video. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, subscribe to this podcast. We need you to help us spread the word about this platform. Don't forget, leave us your comment and your questions to help us understand what will be the next video for us to record for you. And as I usually say, it was Zoe from Cameroon, and I wish you success.